Hey yo, what's up, man? Super to you. Let's get out to the day. Mr. Flow so good, man. Super Tote. Mrs. Keep up my what's. Y'all already know we're to back with you guys with another YouTube video. For those of y'all that are new to the channel, please do make sure to click that red button, do subscribe. Also making sure to click the bell next to that red button because that's what makes sure that YouTube does notify you every single time I upload a video. Now, I've been quiet on, the recent matters as far as podcasting and YouTubers and basically the online blogging space or the video blogging space. There's been a lot of controversy around, that space recently, primarily because of one podcaster by the name of Ria and the issue that he had with Bonang. And, Focalistic actually came in recently and chimed in on it. And I eventually just decided that maybe it's time that I do actually say something about it as somebody who's obviously also a pioneer in the space. But before I get into that, this is what Focalistic actually came out and said.
Him too much because he used to call me a lot and tell me like, don't worry what niggas are saying. Like, people will always talk. And that's the thing that I guess like South African artists never hear from their own peers. And I appreciate that a lot, So shout out to Jazzy Q, that boy. If I'm okay, no, something get drive to Bloom, Bloom. I'm going to Bloemfontein to save Jazzy Q. Shout out to Lady Do as well. She, we had the same conversation. Lady Do told me, don't let them fuck you up. And it's all these podcast niggas. The podcast niggas. So if you have a podcast, you better make sure you come in correct because now this live is about to be a podcast fucking shitter. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming for every podcast right now. But it's your life. Be angry. Yeah, I'm gonna be angry, dog. What the fuck? You guys make artists doubt themselves. You guys make artists commit suicide. You guys make artists go through depression. You guys are not worth it. If you have a podcast right now, make sure your podcast is correct. And I have to give a shout out to the Fred Packer, the Sobering Podcast. I fucking love you niggas. You guys always come with like a proper analysis, you know what I mean? If you're telling me about everything essay, I don't know about I'm a fan about Bonang Basuwe, Leno Hegibala no Gina no Kisha. Okay, Bonang after about it, Auntie B, why it's go ratatata, Bonang, how to skim saga, so what the money 5 million? Get 5 million, I can calculate. Okay, sharp. I went through my brain, I calculate that. Okay, daman obole to bala thata daman and plus hege molebela wa tlhala nya mirira ha ina boela na sa ilo happy ke 5 million tete o di bala ori I say 5 million I say 5 okay.
Now from what Focalistic is saying, it's pretty clear he's not happy with the podcasts, okay? He's not very specific on which podcast he's actually talking about, and there's a lot of speculation that he was actually talking about McG's podcast. Because they apparently were supposed to do an interview and then the interview eventually didn't happen. So, a lot of people have speculated that he could be talking about them. But he obviously mentions, the whole situation with Bonang and Ria in more specific terms, meaning, he also feels that other podcasts that are within the space are actually coming out and, saying things that essentially malign artists or essentially in the process cause artists to have depression and potentially, even take their own lives at times. I'm not going to say much on that because I get where he's coming from with that. As far as the exact correctness of the statement, it's obviously not very accurate considering that podcasters are a relatively new thing. Artists have been depressed and committing suicide since way before. I think it's important what he's talking about as far as podcasters and I think YouTubers in general and people that are within the space of giving opinions on popular people and popular culture in general, that I think it's important that they come correct. I actually agree with him on that. And when you look at that whole Ria situation that he actually references there where he says, Bonang could have even sued him for 5 million, that type of situation. It's one of those situations, even when it was happening, I did comment about it on other social media platforms, where I actually spoke about the fact that, as somebody who's within the space, you need to sort of try and hold yourself to, journalistic standards, even if you don't necessarily fall within the realm of being a journalist at times. even if you're just giving your opinions, but you need to hold yourself to that standard, because not only do things go wrong when you say the wrong thing or when you give out inaccurate information. Not only do you ruin the space for all of us who are within the space, where essentially how do people take influencers, podcasters, and all these people seriously if you guys can just come out and say something and then tomorrow morning are actually retracting the statement because you said something inaccurate and you said something that you didn't fact check properly. And also, I would like to add that if you do say something, make sure the reason it's important to make sure that you have said the correct thing is so that when they come for you, like, I don't know what Focalistic is talking about when he says you better come correct. Does he mean, he's gonna start calling out podcasts? Does he mean he's gonna start suing them? Whatever he means by that, let's say they do sue you, you will be able to have a leg to stand on if you did your due diligence to make sure that whatever you are putting out is actually accurate. Over and above that, when a lawsuit does come your way, I think it's important that you stand your ground. What that homie did by coming out and apologizing and all these other things, I'm not saying that it's wrong to apologize, but the constant having to apologize and having to retract just causes the space to also look like a place where, people, you'll just say something and then when they bring lawyers at you, you just, run back into the corner and start apologizing and start. Smaller YouTubers obviously won't have the resources to mobilize and fight back. And so you're sort of perpetuating that culture also. So it's important that you make sure that when you put out information, you put out verified information, you make sure you separate your opinions from the facts. And on top of that, you also make sure that once you've separated your opinions from the facts, you are willing to stand on what you said. You are willing to fight to the death for what you said. This is what I said. Okay, what I said is as accurate as possible, and I will not retract. Okay, but y'all leave me your comments in the comment section. What do you guys think of Focalistic basically saying, listen, your podcast has better come correct? Saying basically when I didn't even sue for enough. Do you guys think he's talking about suing podcasters? Do you guys think he's talking about, he's basically going to start calling them out? What exactly is he talking about? And what do you guys think of podcasters and YouTubers and bloggers in this space and their quality standards as far as putting out information and quality opinions? Y'all leave me your comments and definitely subscribe.